Welcome to the Global Gaming Business Podcast, the industry's first and longest running podcast now in our 18th year. I'm your host, Jess Marquez, and our guest today is Chad Hoehne, President and CEO of Table Trac, to talk about his decades-long tenure at the helm thus far, the success of CasinoTrac and information technology in general, as well as the future for Table Trac, which includes cashless partnerships, a new enrollment kiosk, and much more. Today's GGB Podcast is sponsored by IGT. IGT is paving the way of cashless gaming yet again. With 14 properties live in North America, Resort Wallet combined with IGT Pay is quickly becoming the preferred method of cashless gaming for both players and operators. Learn more at IGT.com/cashless. For nearly 30 years, Table Trac President and CEO Chad Hoehne has been at the forefront of casino management systems and related technology. The company's CasinoTrac and Table Trac systems has long been a hit with operators everywhere, but now the company is taking another step forward with plans to dive into cashless, a new enrollment kiosk, and a shiny new office located directly in Las Vegas, Nevada. He spoke with GGB Managing Editor Jess Marquez from his office in Minnetonka, Minnesota in August. Chad, thank you so much for joining me today from beautiful Minnesota. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
So, now tell me if I'm wrong, but this is your first appearance on the podcast, is it not?
Absolutely, I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're great. Certainly great to have you, and I'm certainly great to have you talk about all the great things that are going on with CasinoTrac. Obviously, we're very eager to hear about it, and I'd like to start, obviously, kind of at the beginning, if you will. And so, if my research is correct, and you could tell me about this, if my research is correct, you've been at the helm for CasinoTrac for over 28 years, which, as you should know, is longer than I've been alive. That's actually 2 years longer than I've been alive, which is impressive, very impressive. So, kind of as it stands today, how do you reflect on that journey? Kind of what are some of the things that stand out? I mean, you don't have to go into a whole history, obviously, but just what are some of the points of the journey so far, and kind of how did the company first materialize to start with?
Yeah, well, a few of the highlights. Back in 1995, we were looking at the burgeoning Native American markets and all of the opportunity that brought forth out here in the Midwest, which is where I'm based right now. And as we looked at the various systems being provided in this space, we saw a gap in table games, and that's really the genesis of the Table Trac Inc. and the company. Although we've migrated to CasinoTrac, we started out in the table games management space, doing table games management as well as table games player tracking and promotions. And we worked in that space for the first few years of the company's life, and out here in the Midwest and in other places. So that was the founding of the company.
So with the tribal component of it, that's something that I'm constantly interested in because it is not as under the spotlight as the commercial side. So what about the tribal market was appealing to you at the time, and kind of what remains vital to it as the years have gone by?
Well, certainly that was our founding, and at the time it was an emerging area of technology and an emerging business model. But over the years, it has quickly matured into very large now, larger than any other segment really across the countryside, and we've kind of grown with that. And then moving into the commercial space, we really got started with that. Here in the around 2010, we started going into more of the commercial space, which now occupies probably about at least a third of our business model going forward. I mean, we've grown from a couple casinos here in the Midwest to now over 300 locations using our system that's spread across 13 countries. But most of that business, of course, is here in the United States, and a fair amount in the Central, South American, and Caribbean markets, as well as a fairly decent footprint down in Australia.
Speaking on your guys' journey, obviously, you guys are in obviously the entire industry has changed a lot, but I feel personally that probably your guys' sector is among the most, that has changed the most in information management and that type of thing. So what has it been like to see that transformation? And I'm sure that even in the last few years, things have obviously changed so much, but especially someone like yourself who's been at this for so long, what has that transformation been like?
Well, we started off into the slot online and slot revenue accounting and player tracking side of the business at a very fortunate time in technology, because there was two pathways to go down. And, we chose the web service API path early on. So we were developing in APIs and web services and browser-based access to our systems as early as the early 2000s. And our initial system was built on a web service interface platform. So during the years, of course, that's changed with various technologies, but the advent of the gaming floor being completely Ethernet compliant, and that was right when we were getting started. So we've always been building on that technology. Today, we have some 30 different classes with over 300 methods of APIs that people can access. And we're lucky to be down that path, because the interconnection of the world and different computer systems relies on that primarily. And we've been set up for it the whole time.
Definitely, definitely. And so if we move to the present, and I've been very interested to talk to you guys about this ever since I saw it, but you guys recently joined forces with Trax and Coin, which are some of our really good friends over there. We really like them over there. So, and cashless as a whole has been one of the biggest, if not the biggest, topic of conversation that we've had on this show, and as well as in our print material. So, what has that deal been like thus far? I believe it was announced in June, correct, or maybe a little bit earlier.
Yes, I'm really excited. Gary and Charlie are just wonderful to work with, and they've got a great vision for the cashless world and products. And we provide that backbone and the delivery system that can connect their financial services products or innovative in-house financial operating products, in the case of Trax, to the actual games, and also to the customer's player club account, which extends now to their phone through mobile apps. So, the connected world of having all of those feature functionalities on your phone, and being able to control the movement of your finance, your cash, to and from the casino wallet, to and from the game, monitor the status of it. All now comes together into one seamless piece. And, that's where our KT Mobile, combined with Trax and Coin product, combined with, of course, our existing slot floor architecture, which includes, the web service-based slot machine interfaces going on across the gaming floor. So in one place now, whether it's in your hand or on the screen with your player club card, you've got all of those choices and all of those options.
Definitely. And on the flip side of that, and there's one thing about the conversation with this type of technology, is that I'm always interested to ask everybody that I meet, is that there are some unique, how would you say, I don't know if I would say directly regulatory, but just safety related considerations when you have a lot of these, with cashless and casino management and basically everything, that you guys are involved in. So what is the importance of making sure that, these systems are secure, and kind of what are some of the problems that you guys have had to work over, or work, to get through?
Well, this is a case where the Nevada regulators have laid out a very solid set of criteria for us to meet, and that certainly is helpful. But some of the challenges are, for instance, how will your technology ensure that that person with that phone is physically at that game at the time of a transfer of money? And we've done some innovative things in that area, and also with the accounts linking back to the external world. The guys at Trax and Coin have those APIs. Others in the industry have those APIs really wired down nice and tight as well. And, we have integration capability with, primarily our two partners there, but we've also done interfaces with other third-party financial services providers already in that space. But the framework for ensuring that the funds are secure for the customer, that they're not vulnerable to fraud or to various types of schemes, is something that is forefront in the design of every aspect of this.
Resort Wallet from IGT provides a digital wallet for all your players' gaming and retail needs. Your players will love the convenience of IGT's cashless gaming solution with none of the hassles associated with using cash. And with IGT Pay, IGT's exclusive payment gateway, your players can fund their cashless wagering accounts from multiple external sources simultaneously. The benefits of cashless gaming are amazing. No more waiting in lines at ATMs to get cash, no more waiting in lines to redeem your tickets, and no more waiting for service when your ticket printer jams. Learn more at IGT.com/cashless. I tell you, it's a fascinating conversation, and one that I really think, as somebody, as I always have to, I don't know why I do this, but I always preface it as saying, as somebody is in the younger generation, I just think that it's definitely the future of the industry, and I think that it's a conversation that is very interesting to me at least, and I hope so for others as well. I also want to touch on, you guys also recently announced your new reprint and roll kiosk, and I'm curious about this because I must admit that I'm not as familiar with this technology as with cashless, so I'd really love to hear more about it and kind of how it fits into your guys' plans moving forward.
Well, one thing that our customers have expressed concern about is the fact that staffing in the casino floor has been a challenge, especially upon reopening after COVID. And in order to facilitate various activities on a self-service basis, the self-enrollment and reprint kiosk is a means by which we can have the customer engage in a self-service activity to get their player card or to get a new card if they lost theirs, without having to involve the player club desk necessarily in the transaction. But one of the things with enrollment, of course, there's challenges relative to, first of all, validating the form of identification that is being presented by the patron or the want to be patron for the casino. And recent technologies in devices which will hold and scan and analyze the IDs is the first step in that journey. But beyond that, of course, it's incumbent upon our customers, the casinos, and anyone working in financial services to have a verification of the identity of that patron, to KYC or know your customer. And so the next step in the journey, of course, is to have that kiosk and the back room server infrastructure equipped to query the outside world. And there are certain services that can be that are services provided for this process, where you make a connection and you give it certain bits of information and it will verify and come back with a score on that person as to the degree of certainty that this is in fact who says they're presenting to you. So you take that into account, and then the customer, meaning the casino, receives that information and it goes on file so they can demonstrate to regulators that they are doing proper due diligence on the patrons before they give out a player card that's capable of moving money around the gaming floor. Once that's done, of course, it's a matter of printing a card. So that is the process of doing the self-enrollment kiosk. The same process occurs, though, on a reprint. We still need to take their ID. We need to verify it against the documentation on file for that account. And then we're able to print that customer a replacement card right there. And by doing those couple of functions, some of our casinos that maybe don't want to run a 24/7 player club booth or desk in the casino are able to still give 24/7 service to their patrons.
Well, that's interesting because I'm smiling here because I'm thinking about how isn't it interesting how the simplest problems often have the toughest solutions? And I'm just thinking of how for years and years and years, I can only imagine, much before, obviously long before my time, I'm sure that they've been trying to figure out this problem for this long. And I'm obviously this amount of research and development and everything and investment goes into such a complicated solution, but obviously one that is very well suited for today's market. And it's interesting that you talked about those issues because it's funny how it works out. I literally just finished, before I came on here, I finished a story about the labor market in Las Vegas and how the effects are still being felt. So again, very timely innovation. And I certainly think that it'll be worthwhile. So with those two considerations in mind, with the cashless partnership and the new kiosk, if things go well, is that looking to be an increasing part of your business moving forward, or how much more of that business share do you think those will be dedicated to?
Well, we're always looking to be an end-to-end solution for our clients. So everything that is being done for that client, where they're having to bring in external third parties to solve solutions, CasinoTrac is finding a way to provide an equivalent solution that's inside of the same building, so to speak, in-house. So whether it's player loyalty kiosks, enrollment and reprint kiosks, the mobile app functionality, the data analytics with our CasinoTrac line of products. We're looking to serve the customer across all of their needs, even ones that are traditionally served by third-party vendors in the more traditional CMS market space. And we see these things converging a little bit too. For instance, while the mobile app is a great way to control your money and everything, it also gives you the ability to do a virtual card, getting rid of the plastic card completely, and being able to connect with the game that you're at and transfer funds through a series of steps and QR recognition and those types of things. So I see this continuing to emerge, and it's becoming more and more important that all of those elements are talking together and giving the casino's customer, the patrons, that seamless experience.
Definitely, yeah. That is certainly a phrase and a word that I hear all the time, and that certainly applies to this as well. So I want to talk a little bit about. You mentioned earlier you guys have existing offices in Minnesota as well as Oklahoma. We talked a little bit off air before we started, but you guys do have plans to open a new office in Las Vegas, excuse me, which is obviously a huge development, especially in gaming. What does that say about the growth of the company, and kind of further than that, what does that symbolize in terms of moving to Las Vegas is not just any location. Obviously, it's the mecca of U.S. gaming. So what does that mean in your mind?
Well, I see it as an outward sign that we are confident in the maturity of our solutions and our products. And we're coming to open that office out there in September, and looking forward to meeting people inside the Southern Nevada market and being able to show them what it is that CasinoTrac can do for their casino. And we're confident that our product lines will shine in that market.
Certainly, especially with the amount of tribal growth that we've also had in Las Vegas, which has also been an interesting advancement over the last few years. I'll get you out of here on this. And again, I really appreciate you taking the time with me today, but I'll get you on, this is the last one. I understand you guys are kind of going through some rebranding efforts. Could you kind of touch on that a little bit? And as well as what do the next 5 years of CasinoTrac look like?
Well, our rebranding efforts are putting a new look to our company in anticipation of our release of what we're calling version 5 of the casino management system. And so we're just laying the groundwork to show a whole next generation of product, as well as a new look to the company that goes with it.
Certainly.
As far as our next 5 years, I think they're very bright, especially with our opening there in the southern Nevada and starting to gain clients there, but also across the country. Again, I mean, we've got clients from New Hampshire and West Virginia to California and Washington State and everywhere in between. We're up north, we're down south in Texas, and so across the country, we've got clients who are recognizing the product capabilities and value that we bring for their needs.
Certainly. And again, like I said, we'll definitely be keyed into you guys. I'm sure it'll be an eventful next few years. Chad, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure to meet you. It was a pleasure to hear so much more about CasinoTrac, and I hope to connect again soon in the future.
All right. Thanks for having me, and have a great day.
All right, you as well. Thank you. We thank you for joining us on this episode of the GGB Podcast, sponsored by IGT. With IGT's Resort Wallet, your players will experience the convenience of digital transactions throughout your resort property. Learn more at igt.com/cashless. To learn more about Jim, Interblock Gaming, and all the important issues in gaming, subscribe at ggbmagazine.com. To stay current with the weekly news of the gaming industry, subscribe to ggbnews.com and use the coupon code GGB180 for a free subscription. Don't miss an episode of the GGB Podcast by subscribing on Amazon, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts today. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.